Everybody, Lurcher for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new Blast from the Past. So, how the hell have I not talked about Nordics yet? Anybody who has followed my channel for a long time should know that I freaking love Nordics. Nordics are one of my favorite archetypes. They are such a fun deck to play. I love them. I always have. They're such a great archetype, and they're just so incredibly interesting. And I really wish Konami would give us more support. And it still surprises me that I haven't freaking done anything. I mean, heck, I haven't done anything involving Nordics in 2 years. It surprises me. I was like, yeah, I thought I did a Blast from the Past on Nordics, but I searched my channel for it, and nope. I've done 3 deck profiles, 3 duel videos. These 2 are crap, don't watch them, but this one's not half bad. So, yeah, this is surprising. How have I not done anything Nordic related in 2 years, much less a Blast from the Past? And it still dumbfounds me that my second video on the channel, which was a Nordic deck profile, is one of my highest viewed videos. Like, holy crap, I'm not joking, this is the second video I uploaded on the channel. Anywho, moving on to the Blast from the Past. Nordics are a synchro-based deck, and they were the big deck for Extreme Victory, or, wait, no, Storm of Ragnarok. I believe that was the name of that pack. It was Storm of Ragnarok, something like that. But their thunder was kind of stolen from Six Samurais getting more support in that set, and Six Samurais being tier 1. If it weren't for Six Samurais, Nordics probably would have been a much better deck at the time. It would have been an actual competitive deck, and people would have probably actually liked it. But Six Sams got legacy support in that set, and they just dominated everything. Fun fact, it's actually because of Six Samurais that Max C was created and made as a TCG exclusive, so yeah. But anyways, Nordics are still a very intriguing deck. They focus on synchro summoning, but they have exactly 3 synchro monsters, all of which are just literal god monsters. Like, heck, in the anime, these were Divine Beast and Divine Attribute, just like the freaking god cards. And they are even referred to as the 3 Nordic god cards. And they are incredibly powerful and really awesome and very obnoxious for your opponent to deal with. So, yeah, but however, as you guys have probably noticed, Nordics aren't exactly the best thing in the world. And that's because, while their synchros are really great, okay, Loki's a bit debatable, but their monsters, their main deck stuff really needs some work. And the big thing with Nordics is that they need 2 things. Faster ways of getting stuff out, and also better, well, just ways of synchroing. And also, not only that, but also I feel like they could really use more synchros, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. Anyway, so first up we have Fenrir. I'm normally really good at pronouncing Nordic names, but for some reason not today. Fenrir, the Nordic Wolf, and Jormungandr, the Nordic Serpent. Now, I'm talking about these 2 as a set because these 2 very much work together, are designed to work together, and they're complete and total crap, and I hate it how Konami, out of all the anime stuff that Nordics still have that we have not gotten yet, gave us Fenrir and Jormungandr. So why am I upset about this? Because they are not good in the slightest. And I remember hearing how, oh hey, we were getting more Nordic support. And we did in Legendary Collection 5Ds. These 2 were promos. And I was extremely upset when I saw these. Especially since they nerfed them real bad from the anime. And even in the anime, they weren't all that great. So yeah, so Fenrir the Nordic Wolf, he's a dark beast, I said dark, 4k by 4k, level 10, cannot be normal summon or set during your main phase 2. If an Azir monster is on the field, you can spell summon this card from your hand to your opponent's side of the field in defense position. If an Azir monster is not on the field, destroy this card. At the start of your battle phase, change all defense position monsters you control to face-up attack position. Both players take any battle damage from attacks involving this card. Moving on, I'm going to talk about Jormungandr as well, so I can talk about Fenrir and its complete ideology as to why that thing exists. So, Jormungandr, the Nordic Serpent, cannot be normal summoned or set. If an Azir monster is on the field, you can spell summon this card from your hand to your opponent's side of the field in defense position. If an Azir monster is not on the field, destroy this card. If this face-up defense position card you control is changed to face-up attack position, take 3,000 damage. This effect can only be used once while this card is face up on the field. So, Fenrir and Jormungandr, the whole idea is, oh hey, you have an A0 out, you spell summon them to your opponent's side of the field, and then due to Fenrir's effect, the instant Jormungandr goes into attack position, the controller of Jormungandr will take 3,000 damage. And yes, Fenrir is really, really high attack power, but your opponent's still going to take the damage as well from your own attacks. Or well, if you want to be really funny, kamikaze something into your opponent's Fenrir, and then your opponent will take the damage as well as also you, of course. So, why do these cards suck? Well, for the biggest thing, they do nothing to facilitate the idea of this deck. The whole gimmick of this archetype is to summon the big synchros. And they're made to complement that by, you summon like your Odin, your Thor, your Loki, and then you summon these two to your opponent's side of the field, and then, okay, yeah, you do big damage. But, and this is a big but, two things. First and foremost, both of these are dark, okay? So if you're doing against a fusion deck and they happen to be playing Star Venom, they can use these for Star Venom. Secondly, links exist now, and you literally just gave them free stuff to make freaking Deco Talker or Honeybot. Well, no, okay, not Honeybot, but like, once we get the Dark Link monster, okay, yeah, there you go. Like, not only that, but also like other things. Your opponent will not be taking the damage from Fenrir and Jormungandr's effects, because they won't even stay on the field for that long. Not only that, but also, yeah, sure, okay, I get the point of, you having to have the Azir out, but why do they die whenever the Azir dies? I don't get it. It's really, really obnoxious. These cards do absolutely nothing for the deck, and I hate their very existence. They're really, really cool for, like, the Nordic fanboy of me, because I love Norse mythology and how awesome it is, but seriously? These cards could have been so much better, and technically you already kind of had Fenrir because Garmir is kind of like a baby version of Fenrir, but that's semantics. Anyway, so next up we got good old, oh dear lord, Svartalf, the Nordic Aflar. So Nordics are broken down into 3 sub-archetypes, and I should have really mentioned this earlier. The Nordic Alfar, I keep wanting to switch that F and the L for some reason. The Nordic Beasts, and then the Nordic Ascendant. Now then, the whole big thing with these is that the Nordic Beasts support Thor, the Nordic Alfar support Loki, and the Nordic Ascendant support Odin. And that's because in the anime, these 3 sub-archetypes were played by 3 different people who had control of the 3 different gods. And yeah, that's a cool thing, but also like the archetypes work very, very well together. Now then, with that being said though, these have different gimmicks. And the gimmick with the Nordic Alfar is that they focus on getting hand advantage. And so this is the first tuner, and funnily enough, for a long while it was, well, and for a short while it was the only tuner for the Nordic Alfar. Svartalf of the Nordic Alfar, level 5 tuner, spellcaster dark, 1400 attacks, 1600 defense. When this card is normal summon, you can target a Nordic monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. This card is not very good nowadays. The literal only redeeming factor of him is that if you're playing a Nordic Alfar deck, Cheap can summon him straight from deck. and that works really, really well. Especially if you have like Wobblecoot protect the Cheap, because then you can very, very easily make Loki the following turn. But with that even being said, as a card by itself, Svartalf is not very great at all. Like, you gotta normal summon it. It's a level 5, which means you gotta tribute summon it. And there's not very many easy ways to spell summoning like crazy in this deck. And so Svartalf is just not good at all, really, nowadays. Heck, even back then he wasn't all that great. Next up, we got Tier of the Nordic Champions. I really kind of wish that we would have got some more Nordic Champions, because we only got one. That's Tier. But oh well. So he's a warrior, he's a light, 2k by 2k, level 4. Your opponent cannot target Nordic monsters for attacks except himself. If there is no other face-up Nordic monster in the field, destroy this card. I actually really used to like this card a lot, but however, then somebody told me about how this guy exists, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a lot better. So Tier, he's okay for what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to protect your other dudes. If you have multiple Tier out, it's very, very annoying for your opponent. But it's literally as simple as just getting rid of another Nordic, and then, hey, he dies too. Now, granted, again, if you have 2 out, your opponent is kind of sort of screwed unless they, like, use, destruction effects. But, like, they can't attack anything, so it's really, really mean. But aside from destruction effects and Book of Moon, and actually a lot of things, yeah, Tier was a lot better back in the day. He still has his uses for various things, but yeah, he's just not good anymore. The only nice thing about him is that he's a warrior, so you can search him off of Rhoda. Next up, we got Goldfax of the Nordic Beasts. The one and only tuner for the Nordic Beasts, and I'm going to be honest, that's one of my biggest problems with Nordics, is that they don't have enough Nordic Beast tuners. And Goldfax is very intriguing. So he's a tuner, obviously, he's a beast, he's a light, level 4, 1600 attack, 1000 defense. And then he's a Cyber Dragon, but only if your opponent controls a Synchro monster. What? I mean, yeah, I get it. Okay, at the time, Synchros were the big thing. They were the only thing, really, and nobody really played or cared about fusions or rituals, or heck, even tribute summons, really. So, yeah, that wasn't bad, but nowadays, who's playing Synchros? It's literally all about XCs and Links, and, okay, the occasional Synchro, which is literally just ding long, and then they use it to make an XCs. So, yeah, Goldfax isn't all that great anymore. He really could have been better if he was just a blatant Cyber Dragon, and I would have preferred him to be that, but nope, he's a Cyber Dragon only if your opponent controls a Synchro. That being said, though, you still got to play 3 of them because he's the one and only freaking Nordic Beast tuner. Now, if Nordics ever get, specifically Nordic Beasts, ever get another tuner, and it's good, then yeah, Goldfax is going to be booted out of the deck real fast. But, however, we'll have to just wait and see, and pray to God that, or sorry, pray to Odin that Konami will someday give us more Nordic stuff. So yeah, definite 3 of. And by the way, I know I haven't mentioned it, but for the most part, yeah, I think I made it obvious that you don't play any of these guys over here. Next up, we got Lygelsoft of the Nordic Althar. Spellcaster Light, 1400 attack, 1200 defense, level 4. When this card is normal summon, you can target one face-up monster you control, except this card. Special summon 1 Nordic from your hand with a level less than or equal to that face-up monster's level. This card I actually really like, and it's what I ended up replacing Tyr with, like, forever ago. Lygelsoft works really, really great as a follow-up play on your next turn. You can target one of your Nordic gods, spell summon something, and make a synchro. Like, for instance, you can normal summon him, target Odin, and then spell summon Goldfax, go for a level 8, like a Stardust or something. That works really great. Lygelsoft is just an overall really great card. My biggest issue with him is that he does have to be normal summon to get the effect, so you can't, like, call to Haunted him back or something and use the effect. But still, even then, he's still a pretty good card overall. Next up, we got Thanatos of the Nordic Ascendant. She's a dark level 4 tuner, fairy, 1200 attack, 400 defense. For a Synchro Summon, you can substitute this card for any 1 Nordic tuner monster. If this card is used as Synchro material, all other Synchro materials must be Nordic monsters. Once per turn, you can send 1 Nordic monster from your deck to the graveyard. This card's level becomes the level of that monster until the end of this turn. So this card does a lot of things right. First and foremost, it has a good level already, being level 4. It can substitute for summon of any of the Nordic gods, which I know I haven't mentioned this, but they need tuners respective to their archetypes. And then she can literally alter her levels, and it's really, really great. This card is one of the best tuners in the deck. But, yeah, the big thing that kills her, really, is the fact that all other materials must be Nordic monsters, which gets very annoying if you try to mix the deck with other ideas and engines. Like, for instance, Yang Zing Nordics works really, really, really great. Heck, Yang Zing Nordics even topped a regional after Yang Zings came out, funnily enough. So, yeah, Thanatos is a really good card overall, but until we get some really, really good Nordic support that helps speed up the deck a lot, her restrictions are going to be a bit annoying. Next up, we got Garmir of the Nordic Beasts, level 4 Dark Earth. Dark Earth. Level 4 Dark Beast, 800 attack, 1900 defense. If this card battles a level 4 or lower monster after damage calculation, you can return that monster to hand. This card was really good back in the day, but nowadays, yeah, it's not good anymore. I mean, like, back in the day, I'd say maybe 1 or 2 of, but nowadays, he's a 0 of. Like, really, to be completely honest. If this guy was just, oh, hey, if he battles a monster, return it to the hand. Like, if he was literally a better version of freaking Grand Mole, he probably would have been a definite, like, 2 of. But, nope, he's only for level 4 lowers and after damage calculation. So, yeah, he's not that great anymore. Like, honestly, he really could have been a lot better. He got power creeped real fast. Next up, we got the two goats that just make this deck amazing and actually like work and playable. Tengrisnir of the Nordic Beasts and Tangjostir of the Nordic Beasts. And I'm gonna again, like with these two, talk about them in a set. So, Tengrisnir, Beast Earth, level 3, 1200 attack, 800 defense. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, spell summon 2 Nordic Beast tokens, Beast type, Earth, level 3, attack 0, defense 0. And then we got Tangjostir, or Tangjostir. Oh, God, I used to be really good at pronouncing these names. Beast Earth, level 3, 800 attack, and 1100 defense. When a monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to your graveyard, you can spell summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, when this defense position card on the field is changed to face-up attack position, you can spell summon 1 Nordic monster from your deck in defense position, except himself. And sorry, he's got a spell summon on Nordic Beast, so you normally summon out Goldfax. So the really cool thing is that, so like let's say your Tangjostir dies, and Tengrisnir dies, and then his effect activates. You can chain the effect of Tangjostir to spell summon him, and then hey, you just got three monsters, 2 tokens and a monster. That is really good. Also, since they're all Earth, like even the tokens are Earth, you can use them to make freaking what's her name? Freaking Mrs. Radiant. And heck, there used to be oh hey, you have nothing to use like this extra monster with. Okay, hey, now you do. So now you can make a Link monster. Because generally speaking, I'm gonna be honest, Waboku is one of the best outside support cards ever for this deck. Okay, seriously, if you play Nordics, play Waboku. Okay, I played Nordics for like almost 2 years, and Waboku, along with its role in Glad Beast, quickly became one of my favorite trap cards ever because of just how good it was in Nordics and in Glad Beast. So seriously, play Waboku in Nordics because of this very reason. And then you protect your tokens and your Tangjostir with Waboku during your turn. You switch him in attack mode, use his effect, spell summon Goldfax from deck, and then you can normal summon out something else, preferably a level 3 non-tuner. Use the 2 tokens for a good old Mrs. Radiant, and then use Tangjostir to level 3 non-tuner along with the Goldfax for a Thor. There you go. So yeah, and honestly, not only that, but also I'm going to say this now, Nordics weren't hit hard by Link format because all 3 of the God cards can revive themselves back into the main monster zone if they die. So you don't really care too much about the new roles and stuff if you're playing Nordics and stuff. So yeah, I really, really like Tangjostir, and I really, really like Tengrisnir. I really wish Tengrisnir got his effect off of being destroyed by card effect as well, and I really wish he didn't have to be sent to the graveyard, because then if he gets stuff like freaking Whiptail and stuff, he doesn't get his effect. But however, he's still a pretty good card overall. And then we got Mara of the Nordic Alfar. Believe it or not, but this was a TCG exclusive. And if it wasn't for this card, Nordics would only have one. Nordic Alfar would have only had 1 tuner. One really bad tuner at that, but they got another tuner, and it's a really darn good tuner. So, Mara of the Nordic Alfar, level 2 tuner, spellcaster Dark, 1000 attack, 500 defense. When this card is used as synchro material, the other synchro materials must be 2 Nordic monsters in your hand. So, as I said, the Alfar typically tend to mess around with hand advantage and stuff, and because they typically focus on that, Nordic Mara, being able to use your stuff in your hand as synchro fodder, works wonders, because you're just able to use your 2 Elijah Staff in hand, or a Tear or something, or heck, these 2. You can make a level 10, like for instance your Loki, or you can use these 2 to make a Beals, which is always funny, because you normal summon it and your opponent's like, oh, okay, he's just going to summon Loki. No, here's a Beals. And it's just so freaking awesome. I freaking love Mara. He's a really good card. He's really only a 1-of, though, which kind of sucks, but yeah, he's a good 1-of, and he's really, really awesome for the deck. Next up, we got Mimir of the Nordic Ascendant. Level 2, 600 attack, 0 defense, and he's a Dark Fairy. Once per turn at the start of your standby phase, if you control a Nordic monster and this card is in your graveyard, you can send 1 spell card from your hand to the graveyard, special summon this card. Okay, so this card in theory sounds good. He's kind of supposed to be like a, what's the word I'm looking for? He's kind of supposed to be a Treeborn Frog. I could not remember that name for like the life of me. He's kind of like supposed to be a Treeborn Frog for the deck, because hey, he's in your graveyard during your standby phase. Oh hey, you happen to have a Nordic, send a spell summon from your grave. The big thing is that aside from your tuner, the 1 level 2 tuner, Mimir is not very great because of his level, not to mention it's really annoying summoning restrictions. I mean, heck, you gotta have a Nordic out on the field, and you can only do it during your standby phase, and you gotta send a spell card. That's 3 restrictions, and if you could just discard any card while you have a Nordic on field and he's in your graveyard, special summon him, that would have been a lot better because you could do it at any time, not just during your standby phase, make better synchro plays, make easier synchro plays, and stuff like that. But yeah, Mimir, if it wasn't just for the wording of his text, he would have been a lot better. Right now, though, he's really, really just garbage. Next up, we got Valkyrie of the Nordic Ascendant. I'm going to be honest, this is my favorite card in the deck, mostly because of its artwork, and its effect is actually not half bad. But yeah, I freaking love Valkyrie of the Nordic Ascendant. She's a level 2 tuner, very light, 400 attack, 800 defense. When this card is normal summoned, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no other cards, you can banish 2 Nordics from your hand, special summon 2 Aethan Jar tokens, Warrior type Earth, level 4, attack 1000, defense 1000, in defense position. So this card is really good because it's literally just an instant Odin, but however, it has a lot of stuff that really, really hinders it, but you still got to play at least 2 of it in the deck, which is kind of annoying, but you still got to. So the big thing is that you got to have no other cards, your opponent has to have a monster, and you got to neg 2 to summon 2 to make out a synchro. Now, that being said, though, if this goes off and you don't, and like your opponent doesn't stop it, granted, if you get effect failure, it's like the worst feeling ever. But if this goes off and your opponent has nothing to stop it, it's so freaking good because it's an instant Odin, and that is really, really good because Odin's a 4K beast deck who's immune to spell cards, spell and trap cards. So yeah, she's really, really good. You still gotta play 2 of her, even though her effect isn't all that great. Sometimes I've even tried 3 of her, mostly because you generally get her in the graveyard and like use Fanadis as the main tuner, so it's like you just send her to grave with Fanadis effect, synchro and stuff. So yeah, she's really more so used because of her just being the grave fodder for Odin's survival effect. But overall, I really like this card overall. Next up, we got Dverg, or just Ferg, I don't know if the D is silent or not, of the Nordic Alfar. He's a level 1, 100 attack, 1000 defense, Warrior Earth. After you normal summon this card, you can normal summon 1 Nordic monster during your main phase this turn in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. If this face card on the field is sent to the graveyard, target 1 Nordic relic card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. So Dverg is really only good in a dedicated Nordic Alfar deck. I'm going to be completely honest. He's not that great in any other variant of the deck. The extra normal summon sounds good on paper, but generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, unless like you're going for a level 5 synchro play with Goldfax, or even Vanadis, it's generally not that great. He's not going to be doing much. And yeah, getting the Nordic artifacts, what was it called again? Nordic relics back from your grave to your hand is really nice. It's just not all that great in the long run. He's really only good, again, in the Nordic Alfar build because with cheap and stuff, you can make all sorts of stupid synchro plays on Nordic Alfar build. Now then, for the spell support, the deck has 4 spells, 3 of which are dedicated to the gods. Okay, well, actually, no, 2 of them are, but 1 of them basically might as well be. So, first up, the one with the second best artwork in the deck, well, third best, honestly, is Gotterdam Marung. Okay? Normal spell card. Target 1 Azir monster you control. Give control of that monster to your opponent during your opponent's next end phase. Destroy that monster, and if you do, banish all cards your opponent controls. So, you target 1 Azir you control, give it to your opponent, it gets destroyed during your opponent's next end phase, and then if you do, it banishes everything your opponent controls. This card is a really funny one of tech, okay? I don't recommend playing it, like, honestly, at all, but if you want to troll your opponent and just really be that guy who just did that, and go ahead. Now, that being said, though, this card does have some interesting plays with the rest of the deck. Firstly, all the Azirs that are currently released, we never know if like we're going to get more later on, but all the Azirs right now are all synchros, which means that you just gave your opponent a synchro so you can use Goldfax's Cyber Dragon effect. More so, it destroys the Nordic god and puts it in your opponent's main monster zone, which means that it goes to your graveyard, which means you can then revive it with Call to Haunted and bring it back into your main monster zone. So that's a way to get it out of your extra monster zone, but you, again, like, you really honestly don't need that too much. But however, the big thing is banishing all cards your opponent controls. If your opponent doesn't get rid of the Azir right then and there, or is able to kill you or anything, like, generally speaking, if you have a Wobble Coup and you activate this card, you're golden, because then your opponent's going to be losing everything, you're not going to be taking any damage, and then you can make a follow-up play by bringing back that Azir later on with like a Call to Hunt or something. So yeah, Gotterdammerung has some interesting plays and everything, but it's really only a funny one of tech, if that. Next up, we got March Towards Ragnarok. It's a quick play spell card. Target one Azir monster you control until the end of this turn. Its effects are negated. Also, that face-up monster is unaffected by the effects of other spell or trap cards. I really like this card as a 2-of, honestly. Mostly because it's literally there just simply to protect the god cards from spell and trap cards. But, however, you got a better thing called Forbidden Lance. Because it leaves the effects, and also, while yes, dropping their attack points by 800, they're already super high up there, so that 800 attack power is not much. But yeah, it really comes down to your personal play style and personal preferences. If you want to use DN archetype support, go ahead. But if you want to use like the Forbidden Chalice, or not Forbidden Chalice, Forbidden Lance, again, like, you can use that. I hope I'm using the right one. I always forget, and I can never remember how to spell Forbidden. No, Lance. Yeah, it's Forbidden Lance. Okay. Yeah, so Forbidden Lance or March Towards Ragnarok, those are your two real options for protection for your gods from spells and traps. But, however, that and also Mounted Abound Creator is another great field spell, well, another great card for the deck as well for protecting the gods. But, however, again, it comes down to your personal preference and everything. Next up, we got the first Nordic Relic card. Good old Nordic Relic Drop Near. It's an equipped spell, equip only to an Azir or a Nordic monster. It gains 800 attack. If this face-up card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you can add one Nordic Relic card from your deck to your hand. So you can search out another copy of itself. It's okay. It's really only good if you're playing the other Nordic Relics, and I'm going to be honest, none of the Nordic Relics are really worth playing except for Gungnir, which we'll get to here in a little bit. So it really comes down to if you want to play a Nordic Alfar deck. Now that being said, though, also Megan Jord is also kind of a worthwhile one playing. But we'll get to those there in a little bit. So Drop Near, it's really only good if you're playing a lot of the other Nordic Relics. Next up, we got the Nordic Lights, which, by the way, this is one of my personal favorite ultimate rare cards. If you ever get the chance to pick up an ultimate rare Nordic Lights, I recommend it. It's a beautiful card just to look at. It's so cool looking. But, however, the actual field spell effect is kind of iffy, I'm going to be honest. So, it's a field spell, obviously. Nordic monsters on the field cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card on the field is destroyed, destroy all Nordic monsters on the field. So, it's really intriguing, okay? So, it prevents the destruction of all Nordics from battle. And if it dies, all Nordics are destroyed automatically. And the reason why I say this is intriguing is because it kind of counters the goats. And that's the big thing, is that it counters the goats. Because you want the goats to be destroyed in battle, or at least the white goat at least, so that then you can spell summon a black goat, get the tokens, and then proceed off of there. But however, not only that, but also the biggest and worst offender of this card is that second line of text. If this card is destroyed while on the field, destroy all Nordic monsters on the field. Now this can get funny in a mirror match, but it sucks in, like, let's be honest, you're never going to be in a Nordic mirror match. But it really, really, really sucks because, oh hey, we got so much back row destruction nowadays. Twin Twister, Heavy Storm Duster, Masterpiece, Dryden. It doesn't matter. I can be here for an hour listing everything that can destroy spells and traps nowadays. Back in the 5Ds era, it wasn't too terrible because there wasn't as much back row destruction. But nowadays, Nordic Lights, you activate this and you're basically praying to God your opponent never, 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 never summons or draws into anything that can destroy back row. So yeah, Nordic Lights used to be a half decent field spell and was honestly kind of funny in the mirror match. But nowadays though, it's not very great for that very fact of, well, just nuking your board. And not only that, but also counterintuitive. It's very counterintuitive to the deck's play style. I really feel like the deck could do with a better field spell. I would really, really like to see Konami give a second shot at giving this deck a good field spell. Like maybe another version of it, like it can be like that, or like you can even make it like freaking Asgard or Valhalla. There's so many different locations in the Norse mythology. I don't care which one, pick one, make it look cool. You know. But anyways, next up we got Gleipnir, the Fetters of Fenrir. Weirdest name ever, but hey, whatever. It's very simple. Add one Nordic monster from your deck to your hand. Yeah, okay. The search card's a trap card. Now, there's actually a good reason for this, because, oh, hey, your opponent's attacking 10 Grisnir. Okay, activate this, add 10 Jawsteer from deck to hand. But, however, it being a trap card, it really holds it back. I feel like this card should have been a quick play spell card. It would have been a lot better. Would have been more adjusted power creep. But, it's still a main deck staple at 3, and you really, really should be playing 3 of it, because, A, it searches out your entire deck. With the, yeah, okay, it even searches the bad, the bad things over here. So, yeah, it's required at 3. It really, really, really is. I just wish it was a quick play spell card. Oh, by the way, just like with Nordic Lights, the ultimate rare versions of this look beautiful. Next up, we got Nordic YgoAmino. Now, this card I've been very iffy about off and on very, very often. Some builds I've played it, some builds I've dropped it. And honestly, with the advent of Links and the 1 extra deck monster rule, I might be revisiting this card for the deck as well. So, it's a normal trap card. Banish 1 Azir or Nordic monster you control. Then target 1 card on the field, destroy it. Also, during your second end phase after activation, return that monster you control to you banish to activate this card to the field and face up attack position. So you banish something you control that's a Nordic or an Azir, pop something, and then it's returned to your field at the end of your second end phase. So the big thing about this is that it gets rid of something off of your board and gets rid of something your opponent controls. And the big thing is that it dodges destruction. Like, let's say you know for a fact that you don't have any tuners in your graveyard to revive any of your god cards, and your opponent activates Dark Hole. You chain this, banish one of them, pop something your opponent controls, and you get back your god card later on. Moreover, if your opponent summons Castel 101 or activates any sort of spot removal that does not destroy the gods, you can chain it, banish your god, pop something, and then you get your god back in 2 turns. It's really, really simple. And that's the big thing, though. I hate it how you have to wait 2 full turns. I mean, yeah, it's nice and all that you can dodge stuff and all that, but however, waiting 2 full turns, that is crazy, okay? And that's my biggest issue with the card, is that you gotta wait 2 full turns. So I really think that if you're going to be playing this card, play it as a 2 of, and only use it as a last resort to save your god from being removed from field through a non-destruction card effect, or if you want to get it out of your extra monster zone so that you can, you know, put something in there as well. So yeah, I feel like it's a 2 of. Next up we got Nordic Relic. Oh dear lord. Brazen something like that. Target 1 face-up monster you control and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. The attack of the first target becomes equal to the original attack of the second target until the end of this turn. Yeah, it's not good. Don't play it. Next up, we got Nordic Rogue Meganjord. This card, I've actually played as a 1 of from time to time. I really, really like this card. At least I really, really want to. But it's got one big line of text that I don't like. So, target 1 Azir or Nordic monster you control. Its attack and defense become equal to double its original attack and defense until the end of this turn. But it cannot attack your opponent directly this turn. So, the big thing is, yeah, it doubles the attack and defense of something. That means you can have an 8,000 attack power Odin. That's awesome. I like this. But, however, you can't attack your opponent directly. At least that monster can't. And it's really, really, really annoying. But you can still punch over super big things. I mean, hell, you can make Odin be able to attack over literally any other monster in the game except for Armatile. So, yeah, I really, really like this card. Or at least I really, really want to. I think it's a good 1 of. Funnily enough, this card's a secret rare. But, yeah, it's a really good 1 of for the deck. Maybe even a 2 of if you really want to push it, because you can use it to save your Nordics from being destroyed during your opponent's turn. Because, oh, hey, your Goldfax just became a 3,200 beater, and your opponent's Blue Eyes just got killed for 200 from a horse. A big dragon just got killed by a horse. Think about that. Next up, we got Nordic Relic with Leviathan. Funnily enough, I texted this during Evil Storm format. Back when Evil Storms were like the big thing. I actually kind of really like this card, but it really depends on the format. So, it's a normal trap card. Target one face-up monster in the field that destroyed a monster by battle this turn. Destroy it. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation. So, okay, your opponent has to kill something in battle, and then you can target one monster that killed something in battle, pop it, and no card can be activated in response to this. This card can never get negated, and because of, well, as I said, I played this during Evil Swarm format. For those who don't know, Evil Swarms have a quick play spell card called Evil Swarm what was it called? I can't remember. Evil Swarm Infection? Something like that. Evil Swarm Infestate. Wait, what? Where is it? Oh well, whatever. Anyways, so Evil Swarm have a quick play spell card that basically makes it to where all Evil Swarms are immune to spell and trap cards. And so they also have a monster called Evil Storm Ophion who says, while it has Exceeds material, nobody can spell summon anything level 5 or higher. That kills this deck. So what I did was I played this, and they would attack over with Ophion. Like when they would kill my goat, I'd get my goat stuff going, and then I would activate this card, popping their Ophion, and they can't chain to it, so their quick play is rendered moot. So yeah, Leviathan is okay in certain formats. Like if Evil Storms ever become relevant again and you want to play a level 5 or higher deck, because this card is generic, it's actually not bad against freaking Evil Storms, but like against anything else it really depends, and it's just not that great. It really does depend on the format though. It's just 1-for-1 spot removal that your opponent can't stop. Next up, we got Divine Relic Mizonir, which, funnily enough, looks nothing like the actual card in the archetype. Like, look at this. That's Mizonir. And yeah, that looks nothing like it. I don't get it. Like, what happened to the hammer? Anyway, so Mizonir, target one 8/0 monster you control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. This card sounds really good on paper, but yeah, it's an okay one-of. The big thing is that it can be really bricky. I personally like to play it as a one-of tech from time to time, but yeah, it's just that's it. It's a one-of tech. If otherwise, you're going to draw too early, or you're going to see it too late, and you're not going to have an easier, and it's not going to be able to make 2 attacks. Now, if you can get this off, this guy can make 66 damage, this guy can make 7,000, and this guy can make 8k damage in 1 turn. So, yeah, Mizonir is not half bad. But it's a definite one-up tech, if nothing else. Next up, we got Solemn Authority. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, what? There's a continuous trap version of the Solemn cards. And yes, it even features the dude from that like mini archetype of cards, but this card is, well, 48 years. So it's a continuous trap. Activate this card by targeting one A0 monster you control. It cannot be targeted by other card effects while this card is on the field. Send this card to the graveyard during your second standby phase after activation. So it's supposed to protect your god cards, which is cool and all, from targeting effects. But yeah, it kills itself after a while, and it prevents you from targeting your own gods. And yeah, it's just not that great. It really could have been better. And you can't even like save it from dying with like Imperial Custom or something. So yeah, Solemn Authority is not that great. And then for the final card, we have Odin's Eye. If you know anything about Norse mythology, you know that Odin lost an eye, and that it's kind of like mystical and powerful, and can like let him see into the future and past and present, and it's kind of weird. So yeah, the Odin's Eye thing, yeah, very intriguing, and it's supposed to kind of represent that. So it's a continuous trap card. Once per turn during each player's standby phase, you can target one A0 monster you control and negate its effects until the end of this turn. And if you do, look at all cards in your opponent's hand and all set cards they control. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. So the idea is that during your player's standby phase, you can negate one of your Norse gods, and then you can look at your opponent's stuff. And that's not bad, theoretically, because information, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very much an informational war. The more you know about your opponent's hand and their set cards, the more you can, well, mess around with them and make it to where your opponent can't win. But negating the god's effects while during your opponent's turn isn't terrible, because, oh hey, their effects are not quick effects, and that's my biggest gripe with the gods, I'll be honest. Their effects really should have been quick effects. But however, yeah, it just could have been a lot better, and I don't like it how you have to negate their effects, and just looking at the cards isn't all that great. If you could like pick a card out like once a turn or something, that would have been good. But I don't know, maybe that would have been too overpowered. Now then, for the gods themselves, we've been talking about them and never really got around to them. By the way, Supply Squad works as a great little fun card for this deck. So yeah, if you want to play Supply Squad, go at it. So first and foremost, we got Loki, Lord of the Aesir. He's a level 10 spellcaster, dark, 3300 attack, 33,000 defense. Needs a Nordic All-Far tuner, plus 2 or more non-tuner monsters. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card during your battle phase, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. This is a quick effect. During the end phase, if this face-up card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect, and sent to your graveyard this turn, you can banish one Nordic All-Far tuner monster from your graveyard, spell summon this card. When spell summoned this way, you can target one trap card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. So, Loki is very, very intriguing. He's kind of like a big brother to Xian because he can negate spells and traps, and they also came out in the same set. But unlike Xian, Loki can only stop spells and traps during your battle phase. And that is really, really bad, okay? Not to mention he's the weakest of the gods. He's still 3,300, which is huge and can get over most things. But the big hindrance to him is that he can only stop spells and traps during your battle phase. That is super, super specific. Now, granted, you can stop stuff like Mirror Force, D-Prison, stuff like that. Yeah, that's great and all. But still, not being able to stop your opponent's Dark Hole, their Torrential Tribute, their Bottomless Trap Hole. Oh my god, the Bottomless Trap Hole. You have no idea how horrible it is getting Bottomless Trap Hold when you summon one of the gods. So, yeah, Loki, he really could have been better in regards to being able to stop spells and traps. Next up, we got Thor. Now, Thor and Odin are considered the two best, and you generally want to play 2 to 3, well, not ever 3, but you generally play 2 of each of them, and then you play 1 Loki if you play any at all because of Mara. Anyway, so, Thor, Lord of the Aesir. He's a Beast Warrior, Earth, level 10, 3,500 by 2,800. Needs 1 Nordic Beast Tuner plus 2 or more non-tuner monsters. Once per turn, you can negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. Then he has the same revival effect, except he needs to banish a Nordic Beast, and then whenever he comes back, he inflicts 800 damage to your opponent. So, he's not that bad. I really, really like him. Being able to just negate all of your opponent's monster effects during your turn is really, really mean, especially if they have like a Trident and stuff, because, hey, then their monsters lose their abilities, and then you don't have to worry about Whiptail and stuff. But, and a big but, this is a big, big but. It's not a quick effect. And I'm going to be using that a bunch. And Thor, for as much of the crap you have to go through to summon him, should have been a quick effect during your player's turn. Okay? Should have been a quick effect. Just like Loki. Okay? I'm going to say this right now. Odin has the same issue. So, Thor is really good. I really like it. The 800 damage is always nice. And focus. I don't really get where it comes from, considering everything else. But hey, whatever. It works. I like it. He's cool. Great artwork for all 3 of them. But yeah, Thor, I just wish he was a quick effect. Then we got Odin, Father of the Aesir. Okay, so 4K by 3,500, Fairy Light, level 10. Needs a Nordic Ascendant tuner plus 2 or more non-tuners. Once per turn, you can make this card unaffected by spell or trap cards until the end of this turn. And then he has the same revival effect, but you need to banish a Nordic Ascendant tuner. And then when he's revived by his own effect, you can draw 1 card. So Odin is by far the best of the 3. He's the highest attack power, and he can protect himself from spells and traps once a turn. Now, the big thing is his ability to make himself immune to spells and traps is an activated effect, meaning it can be negated, it can be chained to. Beforehand, your opponent can just activate Compulse, or they can even chain it to it, and then, hey, there you go, you just lost your big 4K beater. So, how does it feel? I freaking hate it. Why did Konami not make these guys freaking quick effects for all the crap you have to go through to make them? Like, seriously, they should have been quick effects. And you know what's the worst thing about it? Odin was a quick effect in the anime. Not only that, but he protected all Aesirs. He made all Aesirs you control immune to spells and traps in the anime. And they dumbed it down to just protecting him, and it's not a quick effect. I'm so mad, okay? But still, let me just be completely and totally honest. As much as the crap that I give these guys, and heck, the whole archetype in general, it's completely out of love. I love this deck. It's so much fun to play. Summoning the God cards is really, really awesome. Once you get the God cards out, and if you can protect them with like a Mounted Bound Creator and stuff, which again is like the best thing ever for this deck, it's so awesome just having a big beater that your opponent can't deal with until they Utopia to Lightning you. So, yeah, in general, I really, really like this deck. So, now then, for the stuff that it needs, okay? First and foremost, they need more synchros. They really do. For having this many tuners, the deck should have more synchros. And for as many Nordic gods as there are, we got Freya, crap, I can't remember any others. There's a crap ton of others, though, that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. You know, they got the big three, Thor, Loki, Odin, there you go. But there's Freya, crap, I can't remember. Oh yeah, Burdandy or Beldandy, whichever name you want to go with, along with her sisters Erd and Skull. There's a whole bunch of other Norse mythological gods and stuff that they could easily make into more synchros. Now, not only that, but also they could easily make some of them into link monsters. And I really feel like this deck would really, really highly benefit from more for links. I mean, like, it could be something as simple as you can normal summon an additional time, or you can bring back a tuner from your graveyard, or you can put a tuner back from your banish zone back into the graveyard. Anything like that. I've also always thought that this deck needs a freaking draw card. Something as simple as a D-draw, send a Nordic tuner from your hand to the graveyard, draw 2, something like that would be really, really amazing, because not only do you get to, well, get more card advantage, but you also get to fill up your graveyard to facilitate the Nordic gods' revival effects. Now then, another big thing is that this deck is way too slow nowadays. This deck was still perfectly playable up until Duelist Alliance. I was playing it and doing pretty well in my local tournaments up until Duelist Alliance came out. Heck, I still remember trouncing freaking Mermail several times over, and that was the best deck for the longest time before Duelist Alliance. And then Duelist Alliance came out, and this deck just could not keep up with anything after Duelist Alliance. So, what this deck really, really needs above all else, above anything else, is to be made a bit faster. They need something that lets them search faster. They need something that lets them summon faster. They need something that lets them revive faster. Do you get what I mean? This deck needs to be tuned up, revved up, and be able to synchro summon faster. And that's the big, big thing. They're just way too slow. And that's the worst part about it, is that they are really, really cool. I really, really like this deck, but the reliance on letting Tangrisnir die to summon out Tangjostir as well, get 3 monsters, and then go into your synchros the next turn just takes up way, way, way too much time. And I really, really feel like that if they had some way to get out more monsters in a faster pace, and also, well, more monsters to go into and have more options, this deck could be a lot better. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I really need to reevaluate my love for Nordics? What do you guys think the deck needs? Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and see you all later.